Alright guys, welcome back to another video. This video is posted of course on Reddit. It's up under Missing 411. It's reposted by EDUPS-401. And this is an experience that this person, and I'm going to say allegedly, experienced, because I don't know this story to be fact. And I don't know this person personally, so I cannot say that this is true. We can only assume that, we can take their, how can I put this? We can just assume, that what they're telling us is the truth. So this is an experience that somebody just had late in August. And I wanted to read this to you guys, and anybody that's, or hikers, or maybe anybody out there that's been to Yosemite National Park, maybe you guys can weigh in, and maybe you guys, could have had an experience like this as well. So he starts off, I believe it's a male, yeah. He starts off and he says, "Hey, you guys might remember me from the recent post about the hiking up to Pyramid Peak and what happened and how I was introduced to this sub." And this means how I guess he was introduced to this section on Reddit. After that post, I began researching the phenomena a bit and remembered another strange experience I had while hiking up to Half Dome. This happened around August of this year. I'm not sure what we experienced or if there was anything odd about it, but whatever. It's also a bit of a long post. Sorry about that. And guys, I am sorry about this as well. I'm going to try to read this as fast as I can, but I want y'all to understand this as well too. So this was a hike up to Half Dome. We had a campground about 20 minutes drive away from Trailhead. And the group was composed of me, 18, my uncle, and my uncle's friend. And I'll call him D. And there were two girls with us, but they aren't relevant to the story. My uncle and his friend are both Christians, so there were no substance consumed that could induce the feelings I will be talking about. We get to our campsite, set up camp, and go to sleep after eating. We plan to wake up at 4 and start the hike by 4:30. I randomly wake up at 3:30 a.m., like completely wide awake, and look out of my hammock, and I remember feeling this odd feeling as if I was woken up by something. And I remember looking out at the moonlight scene. The moon was very bright for some reason, and thinking to myself, it looks like a dream. I lay back in the hammock, but cannot go to sleep, and end up waking up my uncle and friend at 3:50. My uncle asked me, "Were you walking around at night?" This is important. And I say no, and ask why. He says he woke up for some reason and could hear someone walking around. Not like an animal, but a person. I say, huh? Weird, and we brushed it off. We get to the trailhead around 4:30, and as everyone is unloading from the car, D says he's going to use the bathroom, which there are a couple of before the trailhead. I walk behind him for some time before falling behind and waiting for my uncle, who forgot something in the car. The short, straight road from the parking lot runs directly into the T intersection with the road to the trailhead, and the bathroom is directly across from the intersection through the field a little. Those who have been there know what I'm talking about. We get to the intersection and wait for D to come out of the bathroom. We wait about 10 minutes before we go and check the bathroom, but he isn't there. I get back to my uncle and tell him that. He says weird. Maybe he went back to the car or something. And we decided to wait a bit more. By 5:10 we were worrying. My uncle goes to check the car. I wait at the intersection to make sure we don't miss him if he went down the road away from the trailhead. My uncle returns, says he isn't there either. We decide maybe he went up to the trailhead without us for some reason, and walk up there in about 10 minutes. He isn't there either. We are kind of baffled now because there are no other logical places he would go. I decided to run back and check the car and the bathroom again. I meet him halfway before I get to the intersection. He is sweaty and disheveled with a weird look in his eyes. I say, "Where have you been?" He says that he went to the bathroom. And when he got back to the intersection that we weren't there. And that he just assumed we went to the trailhead and started walking and then met me. I say, "What do you mean? We waited at the intersection for over half an hour and checked at the car, the bathroom, and trailhead, and you wasn't there." He says, "Well, I don't know. I went to the bathroom." He then asks me where my uncle is. I say, "At the trailhead." And he asks me again. I tell him again. And note that it was weird that he asked me twice. As we're crossing the bridge to the trailhead, he sees a light off the riverbank and exclaims, "Oh, maybe that's him." And I just look at him and keep walking. I thought his behavior was very strange, like he wasn't thinking straight. We finally get on with the hike and it goes by as normal, except that we seem to keep losing things, such as my uncle's small red flashlight, one of the girls' gloves, water bottle, etc. It's like we just simply forgot about the items and couldn't remember where we could have left them. On the way back, it got dark and we turned on our flashlights. And as we near the end of the hike, after the 2 waterfalls, it begins to seem as if we've been walking for far too long. My uncle also confirms this, asking me, "Doesn't it seem like it's taking way longer to get back?" I say, "Yeah, I was just thinking that." We were walking, but it still seemed we weren't making any progress. I've been on that trail many times, and as I was walking, I couldn't spot any familiar landmarks. It was weird. There was this odd feeling in the air, sort of a slight menacing feeling. It's hard to describe. I remember thinking, it feels like the woods are alive. We remarked 3 more times about how long the hike is taking and began to laugh at it because it just felt so ridiculous. After a bit, we finally and suddenly find ourselves at the final stretch and we make it back to the car. Now, all of this seemed odd at the time, but I just brushed it off. I only realized how weird those events felt after we got home, and my aunt asked my uncle, "Were you camping?" And he says, "Yeah." "How did you know?" As we didn't tell them we were going since it was kind of last minute. She says that she had an odd dream where she sees my uncle in a tent in a forest somewhere and someone is outside of his tent. She says she couldn't see who it was, but she knew there was a presence there. She says she woke up around 3 and had the strong urge to pray for him, and she did. My uncle kind of looks at me after that like, "Are you hearing this, S?" I honestly don't know what to make of all this, but I wanted to post it to hear your opinions. Wow. All I have to say to start off with that this is an amazing story. Like I say, I don't know if this story is true, but I'm going to give the storyteller, the benefit of the doubt that this is a personal experience that they had in the woods, I want to read this one comment right here because it caught my eye and it made me think. So this was posted by CALLMERASKOLNIK0V. And it says, "Wow, lots of crazy-ish in that story. I don't think it's any coincidence that the dream had by the woman at the same time you woke up in the morning was anything short of a warning of some kind." I agree with that. "And her prayers likely saved y'all from something." I agree with that. A few things mentioned in this thread makes me think of effects of infrasound on humans. When affected by it, people report sudden disorientation, hearing buzzing sounds like bees or sounds like rushing water, may even become disoriented. I hope I'm saying that word right. I know I am, but I'm country and whatever. As to take off their clothes and not know why. Forget where they are, where they put items of theirs, etc. And this is why I wanted to read this comment, because what this person describes in their story makes sense to the lady with the boots that were found on the top of the cabin. They said that she was shooting bullets everywhere, that she was in hysteria. A lot of people, it's documented that it looks like they look confused, like they seem to be confused, or they're running from something, or they get turned around, or they leave items. This is something that has been documented that normally happens or looks like it's happened to people that are missing in these 411 cases. They also say, also not the first person to mention feeling as if the woods or the forest were alive. And I'm going to be honest here. I do believe that certain forests and woods are alive. I do believe that. I do believe that there's a more darker, deeper secret when it comes to our world itself. But there's certain hollow grounds or certain areas that I just believe is just a whole nother connection to our reality, or whatever we think of our reality. I don't know. And it said, they say, seems like an incredibly scary experience in retrospect kind of thing, especially in an area known for people turning up missing. You're very lucky, I think. If you were alone that night, things could have gone very different, I think. And I agree with that as well. I myself would not go back there. And I wouldn't go back there either. I mean, I've never even been to Yosemite National Park. And to be honest with you, guys, I don't even know if I would go. Now, if I go into my own national park, find some things, or something happens, then okay. But I don't think I want to travel all the way there to find what I'm looking for and then go missing. I don't know, guys. But I hope you guys enjoyed this story. And like I always say, do not obey. Stay woke.